welcome everybody to tonight's meeting, April 11th of 2022. Could I please have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone. Justin, can you see us and hear us okay?
Yes, great, thanks.
All right. Let me know if I mess up. All right.
All right.
Approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Okay. Review consent agenda, I guess. Anything in there that anybody wants to?
I think it looks good.
There should be 3 sets of minutes, because we had
Yes.
2 cow meeting, special meeting, and the meeting from the 14th. So you should
Yep.
find 3 sets of minutes.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Here a second.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next on the agenda is new business. Okay, item 6 is a second reading of the ordinance. I gotta get to it now. An ordinance amending Chapter 12 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Pine Bluffs, Wyoming, entitled Public Utilities, modifying and reorganizing those provisions governing the use of the town water supply system, establishing a procedure for setting rates and providing for an effective date. Any questions?
This is the second reading, right?
This is the second reading.
There haven't been any
Takes
changes
3.
between the first and the second?
It's mostly been to, hasn't been much on the wording, just on the structure of the document.
I move to approve ordinance 2022-04 on the second reading.
Oh, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just a bit of clarification on this. The ordinance substantively pretty strong, but as usual, you know, sometimes these things don't fit with our code book.
Right.
So most of what you're seeing here, which you haven't seen before, because the first time we only did the title. But we went through and kind of tuned it up and made it match with our code book, so it would fit right in there. We don't have an Article 3 in Chapter 12, so this is new.
Okay.
I would encourage all of you to take a look at that. There were a couple of deletions, mainly to update things here, but if there's anything that you think of that ought to be in there, it would be good know about between now and third, and then that way we could amend it on third and include those things.
Okay.
That's kind of how we got to where we are. Thank you.
Kim, do we do the third reading on the 27th, or is that at the May 9th meeting?
It will be at the May 9th meeting, so we have enough time to advertise.
Okay. Any more discussion? Questions? Answers? All right. Did we get a second?
Yes.
Okay. No more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, pass the second reading. Item 7, Carpenter Road property discussion. All right, this has been kind of a deal. Alex, fill us in on what you think, what you know. I'll tell you what I think, what I know.
I don't know a lot. So, I looked at the same documents that you folks probably looked at. There was a dedicated right-of-way up there, Carpenter Road. There are dedicated right-of-ways all over the place that don't have
Right.
real roads and streets on them. Typically, the way those things play out is they're platted and they're put on the document. People have to do that oftentimes to get the plat approved so that there's access to all the possible property owners. Then it's generally been the practice that the developer would develop the right-of-way based on standards promulgated by the state and the town. That can vary. Sometimes it's street and gutter. Sometimes it includes pavement. Just, kind of a little bargaining goes on there between the town and the developer. Because once the town takes that over, then the developer's off the hook and the town has to continue to maintain that. So, there is some interest there on the part of the municipality to ensure that, they're not gonna have a maintenance problem when they take it over. So that's the way that looks. Any subdivision of that parcel would require going through the subdivision process, and that's gonna mean a plat, and it's gonna come to the council and the governing body for approval, so.
Now, from what it looked like to me, this Carpenter Road went right up through and split the parcel in two.
I think it's on one side.
Now it's on one side.
I think it
But
is.
originally, it looked like it was right up through the middle. Is that correct? Am I correct in that, looking at
As
that?
far as I can tell, from the property corners that were installed when the first piece that borders North Main Street was split off. It's a 40-foot swath right down the east side from North Main Street out to where the county property begins out by Lodgepole Creek.
Okay. Well, that's what it looked like now, but the old map, it looked like it split down through
Yeah,
the
I've
middle
never
of it.
seen an old map.
So, anyway, just wanted to make sure that I was thinking right. Now,
Mayor, may I?
yes,
Mayor and council, first, for those of you who don't know him, I would like to introduce you all to Mr. Roberts, who is relocating to Pine Bluffs, Wyoming. He's purchased that property north of town. Mr. Crystal owns the property directly on North Main, and this property sits just north of that. He plans to divide it eventually into 2 different lots. He understands that there is a floodplain that runs across the northwest corner of that property And he's also aware of the military cable that runs underneath a portion of that property as well. For that reason, he is dividing the properties accordingly. I know that Mr. Roberts has also contacted High West Energy to talk about a line extension going out to that property. We're working with Lauren to be sure that we understand how best to tie the water in. And, you know, the plan would be obviously to try and get the meter pits in both at the same time, even though I think you mentioned you wouldn't be developing that second lot immediately. No, but it will be developed eventually. We have also given him the information to go on to Laramie County to apply for a permit to put in a septic system. Prior to applying for that, though, he needs to get a building permit run through our board here, and we would like to get that done as soon as possible for him. So we'll work with him on that paperwork and try and make that happen here for this next meeting coming up.
I think that we could probably, as long as he meets all the criteria that we want, I think that we could just do it. I may be wrong, Alex will tell me if I'm wrong. Why can't we just grant him a building permit on a phone call or an email? If he's met all the criteria, that, rather than wait 2 weeks, because he's ready to get started on building a house. And I know there's a lot of houses get started before driveways go in and all
Sure.
that stuff. So,
Absolutely.
The only reservation we might have about that is we need to be sure that if it's gonna get divided, and it's not divided now, and then you approve a building permit, well, then he's gonna put his house where he's gonna put his house. And we gotta be pretty sure that he's not gonna put it where, when he divides it, he's gonna mess with with a setback or something like that. So it's a little bit cart before the horsey, but wouldn't be the first time we've done that.
If you might, I've already been out there measuring things
Okay.
and have a close enough approximation, I think, that I can site the house where I'm securely out of everybody's setbacks and securely on one parcel.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for.
right,
Sure.
right. So, okay. Justin, you got anything?
No, I'm not sure I could hear everything perfectly, but, yeah, I want to be supportive and get this gentleman going as quickly as possible. I just think, with Alex's help, maybe we need to, we just need to make sure we're getting it all right. Which, I'm not exactly sure what the timeline of all that is. We would do it in an expedited way, in any way we can, but I feel like, our responsibility is to also protect the citizens, all the other citizens, so we need to make sure we're doing what we need to do. But I'm very much in favor of expediting that in any way we can to get this moving. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Any other discussion? Okay. Sounds like, Rob, as long as everything's good with Mr. Crystal and yourself and getting everything where you need it to be, letting the town know
Okay.
kind of what your plans are. I don't know that the city really has any layout for how wide streets have to be for like a rural street like that.
Yeah.
If it's a 40-foot easement, you can't hardly put a 52-foot street in it.
No, and there's gonna have to be probably utilities on either side of the street. Because unless the street is skewed way to one side or the other, Because my guess is, talking to the folks at Pine Bluffs Gravel, that if we put in underground electric and gas and water, probably all three utilities are not gonna wanna be in the same ditch. Certainly not electric and water together. So there's gonna have to be, you know, some ditches that are, conceivably even 3 ditches that are side by side, and I don't know how much room each one of those utilities is gonna require.
Well, in the past, I know that we have water in one, they're all in the same ditch, but water was down. Then they benched up and they put electrical, telephone, and gas all on the upper bench. So
Okay,
they were basically all in the same ditch, but they were just benched separate from each other.
okay, that's fine. I'm kinda new to this deal.
Yeah.
And-
Or some places like gas may want to cut their own.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Yeah,
so,
so I'm fully aware that I have to work with all the providers and whoever's gonna, put the road in to make sure that it's all according to the way everybody wants it.
yeah. Yeah, Justin,
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Just in theory, is the plan for these to be, since a future plan is to subdivide, is this service type lines, or are you running, are you running service lines or are you running main lines?
I'm not sure that I know the difference, but they'd be run just, there's only room for 2 residences on the street, so.
I think what he's asking, are you planning the main line running up there, were you gonna go with bigger than 3/4 inch? Like a 2-inch line,
Yeah,
and then tee off of that to
yes.
smaller service
Probably a 2-inch
lines?
line, the main line going down probably 2-inch, and tee in with 2 1-inch services to the residences.
Did you hear that, Justin?
Yes, thank you.
Yep. So, anyway, that's what I was gonna suggest, that we run
Yeah,
a bigger line that way and then service them with smaller 1-inch or 3/4 inch,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay. Anything else? Alrighty,
okay, well, very good. I will make an appointment to see Kim first thing in the morning, and we'll get this
Perfect.
going.
perfect. And, I'm sorry, Alex.
Go ahead.
And we don't have a set of specs for building a road per the Wyoming, per the town of, Wyoming's got a lot,
Yeah.
county's got some, but city of Pine Bluffs don't have any.
No, we don't have, development standards per se. That's one thing that has always been kind of held at arm's length. But, you know, I think it's just a matter of kind of common sense and trying to work that out.
Yeah.
One thing that would really help though is if you could, is just maybe when you're dealing with the town's office there, submit some kind of a plot map of that piece of ground and kind of where you want to put that division line at some point.
Okay, I left a site map here the other day
Okay.
with a copy of where the house is gonna go.
Okay.
I have another.
It's all in your council packs, you'll see.
I have another rough estimate, certainly not surveyed, but it should be reasonably close as to where the division would be, where the floodplain is, where the Air Force line is, and so on.
Okay, great. Anything else?
Oh, excuse me, there is one thing, just so everybody's aware, there is a power pole in the right of way that is gonna need to be moved. And it would certainly be helpful to me if the town could contribute at least a little bit of help to the road by filling in the ditch from the North Main Street to where I would start constructing the road.
Okay.
Yes, Mayor and Council, we discussed that a little bit earlier, and it was determined that since that power pole is kind of not in a really good location anyway, that the town would absorb the cost to relocate that pole. We would do it in conjunction with any electric work, lineman work that's being done for this property, and not do it separately, but once everything starts moving out there, we'll get that done too. It just wouldn't make sense until I know how High West is
Fair
gonna
enough.
tie in
Yeah.
to, yeah,
Okay. Is that on High West or is that on us?
it's on us.
Okay, all right.
It's on North Main Street.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was one of their spur lines coming in or if that was.
Yeah, no,
one of
and,
ours.
like I said, we just wanna do what makes sense for
Right.
not only this road, but for, other property owners right there, you know, and
Sure.
if we're looking at doing some underground, you know, where would we put a pad mount and things like that.
Yep, yep. Okay, any other discussion on this?
I think you've thought this out really well, so thank you for having all this information for us.
Well, I thought that was part of my job, isn't it?
You made it easy on us, thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, moving on then. Visitors' comments, I guess. Anybody else want to speak?
So,
Say anything?
Mayor and Council, I
Yes.
would like to bring up Ms. Dima to talk to us about the community improvement. Kevin's going to do it. Okay, Kevin is going to come up and join us and talk about some plans, or a proposed plan that they have for Pioneer Park here on the corner of Main and Second.
All right.
This is my name.
We got it, copies. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin, would you please state your name?
Hi, I'm Kevin Marquardt, and I'm representing the Pine Bluffs Beautification Board. And what you have in front of you, we are proposing a gazebo. The proposed gazebo will serve as a beautiful shelter in the quaint established Pioneer Park on the north end of Main Street. The gazebo will be equipped with an electrical package so that the shelter can be used for many activities like birthday parties or smaller family picnics and gatherings. The structure will welcome visitors, travelers located just off the beaten path of Highway 30 for the townspeople, a great outdoor area to enjoy a lunch break or visit with a friend. The aesthetically pleasing gazebo will brighten up the north end of Main Street and will complement the established Veterans Memorial Plaza, as well as tie in nicely with the Pine Bluffs Texas Trail Museum and Park, establishing a nice triangular flow from one attraction to the other. So we have $25,300 available that we can buy the gazebo with. So we're asking the council for the money to build the concrete, the lot prep, landscaping, and the electrical installation. That money, after we built the mural, the second mural, this is some funds that we had available after that, and we intend to keep doing things for the city with these funds.
For 10/8's what you're.
Right,
looking.
right. And we have the gazebo, we could go with a little smaller one too. This one, I believe, was it a 16-foot? 18-foot one. And we could go with a little smaller if we needed to.
Does that gazebo have any chairs or benches in it?
I believe the way we were gonna do it now, what we were looking at is trying to put some picnic table type things inside and then put a walkway around the outside of it also. But nothing, no seats attached to it or anything.
Okay.
Kim, we got any funds to help them out other than the electrical stuff and maybe some landscaping?
Yes, we do. I mean, of course, our public works team would take care of the electrical and the landscaping. I had a conversation with Pine Bluffs Gravel to assist us with the concrete and lot prep.
Okay.
And as far as the build goes, we would be reaching out to the same gentleman that has been doing the renovation work in the old police department.
Okay.
And so, yes, I think that based on the timing, we would be able to make this happen. I would just need to do a little bit of a resolution to move some funds around from one department to another to make that happen.
All right. What's everybody's pleasure?
I think it sounds like an excellent idea.
And we want to try to get going with it, as soon as we can. So hopefully, fingers crossed, get it done, before like trail days.
Tom?
As long as we have the cash for it, I don't see no problem with it. The bookkeeper there, she runs funds all over.
She's got pretty
Yeah.
tight reins on it.
Yeah. I have no problem with it.
Justin, any ideas, questions?
No, I'm not sure I fully understand the design, but I support the concept, and if we can help it out to beautify the project, I would. Oh. I'm not nitpicking about this, but I do wonder if a concept where there is some fixed seating that we don't have to chase around in the wind or something.
Sure, and we can work
Attached to
on,
the edges or something might be interesting, but either way, like the idea and support it.
and we can look into doing that too, so, and try to figure that in on some costs with it, so.
Have you all considered removing that split rail fence that goes around the perimeter of that park? I think that it might look a little cluttered with both the split rail and the gazebo, which has a
Yeah,
rail around it.
that's probably true, yeah. That might be a good
I think
idea.
that, during the landscaping portion, again, that's something that our public works department, they can pop that out. I mean, we could put it in there first and see how it looks.
Looks,
but-
yeah, then if it didn't
but-
look good, we could pull it out. Yeah, that would not be an issue at all, so.
Okay. I'm all for it.
I think it's great.
All right.
Awesome.
I do got one more question that has nothing to do with this.
Sure.
How's the airport board coming?
We are working on it. We are making some headway with it. We're working on some bylaws and things.
Okay.
We had a meeting here a while back together and trying to come up with the best way to go forward with it. And I believe, in the next 45 to 60 days, we will have something put together, so, and bring it to show the council, so.
Okay, I just wondering,
Sure,
haven't
sure.
heard from you.
No, absolutely.
All right, great.
And the town is working with the airport advisory board already and trying to plan an open house at the airport where we have the incentive flights for folks out there like we did a few years ago. And to also
Good.
showcase our new terminal and hangar.
Okay.
Great.
Yep, very
Sounds
good.
Thank you guys
All
for
right.
putting this
Thank you.
together.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot of people there. Anybody else? Like to jump up and say something? Carrie, I know you're dying.
I'm listening tonight.
Really? Wow. Chance, how's everything going? I hear Dare's up and running.
There's up and running. Thank you. I will. Sorry. I've got a list of things. Not really, just a short list. So thanks, Mayor, Council. Good evening. Just want to give a couple of public announcements. One being DARE. We are doing that. We're going to have 9 more weeks of it if anybody's interested. It's 6:30 to 7:30. It's an hour long. It's free. We'll have some kind of field trip afterwards. I think in the past they've done baseball games down at like Coors Field. So I think we're going to look at doing something similar to that at the end of the conclusion of this program. And for all those who do homeschool, it does meet requirements for some of the homeschooling activities. There's like 20 or 30 milestones or requirements that have to be met for that. And so DARE and its new curriculum, which doesn't just cover drugs, but also violence and tobacco use and just being nice, kind of cover all those aspects. So it's definitely a great program. And then also just a shout out to our dispatchers. It is National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, and we just wanted to thank our dispatchers for everything that they do for us. So, awesome. That's all. Thank you much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Gene, really?
I'm just here for support of
Oh.
both these guys.
Okay. All right. Department reports. Alex, let's start with you.
I'm just doing my job.
There you
Head
go.
down.
Tom?
We went to the Region 1 meeting, and I gave you the copy of the distribution for the 105 million plus another 15 million. I think the town of Pine Bluff got 148,000, was it?
140 something.
140 something. And then.
148,330.
Yeah, that's our share of it. And then I gave you a copy of some of the bills that WAM supported, some that failed, some that passed. If you want, you guys can go over
Okay.
that, you can.
And I have that email too, Jana, if you want, I can send that to you.
I'm good with this.
Okay.
That's all I had.
Okay.
Well, I
Ally?
mean, Tom stole my thing. We went to the Region 1 WAM meeting. I think we learned a lot.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty good, pretty informative. All that information is super helpful, super useful. Some of those bills are things that will probably come back up that we should keep an eye on, especially that utility one. Something for us to think about, even maybe like throwing in when you sign up for utilities, with like a landlord section, just because that could cover us later in the future. But just things to think about. Otherwise, everything is going pretty well. Working on finding a director for the EMS department, and we'll be talking about that a little more on April 21st at the regularly scheduled meeting, and then with the intent to come to the council meeting, or the CAL meeting on the 27th with a recommendation.
All right, thank you. Justin, what do you got? We'll just go right around the table here, so.
I think, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
I don't have anything to add.
all right. I think I'm pretty
Other than
good.
I apologize if you're looking at the screen that my handheld Zoom device is a little bit all over the place, but thank you.
All right, great. Thanks for teleconferencing in. Zooming in, I guess that's what Zoom. I didn't have nothing new and exciting.
For the senior center, not too much. They've discussed making some changes to their personnel policy, but because grant season is upon them, they're going to delay those policy changes for a while. There's also hope to add some more positions to the center this year, and expand it to some new services. She wasn't specific about what, but discussion on that regard. And they've also talked about sponsoring meals. Usually they have a local business sponsor one meal a month. Usually those are holidays or high attendance days. And the board decided they would start sponsoring a meal each month that was different to try and get people in to try other menu items. But other than that, that's all the senior center has.
All right. All right.
Just an update on the well number 10 project. They will be back in a couple of weeks to put in the submersible pump. They have removed the fence around well 8, which is being decommissioned for well 10. And they've backfilled that in. They removed probably about 6 feet of the 10-inch casing. And the rest was filled in between concrete and backfilled, and they will seed over that once they come back in a couple of weeks. As far as our SCADA project, you know, we released the RFP, we got some responses in. We're reviewing those responses right now, and we're working with Alex on that. We're also working with Alex to develop an RFP for our stormwater study that we received a grant for from the federal government, from FEMA. And we are also working on applying for a couple of new grants. One is called the Kubota Hometown Pride Grant, and that could be up to $100,000 for a community to put in something that will benefit the community. And so I am partnering with Dave Kraus from High West to develop a grant package to be submitted on that. We're hoping to be able to present to you the ideas for an indoor firing range that will benefit all of the young folks in eastern Laramie County, right here in Pine Bluffs. We are also going to be applying for a grant on behalf of Curry's Cuisine to the Laramie County Board. It fits their economic development goals for our community, and we're hoping that by partnering with them, that we'll be able to make that happen for this new business that's being worked here in town. And finally, we will be applying for a grant in partnership with the Airport Advisory Council to hold that airport open house. Generally, those are funded by YDOT Aeronautics. If we can get that pulled together, we'd like to hold that at the end of June.
Great.
And that's all I have for right now, other than getting ready for your budget meeting on the 27th. And we're also working on our update to our employee handbook, which will also be ready for prior to the month of June so that it can go into effect for July 1st.
A lot of changes in it,
No,
not like 2-3 years worth.
just 2 or 3 years worth. Just kind of updating it for, current HR things.
Okay. I'm just being
Yeah,
sarcastic. 'Cause the last one of them we did took 2 years.
it did, but we have.
Not here.
Not here, no.
Yeah, I know.
But, we do have a new administration, so they should have an opportunity to make changes
Right.
as they see fit to our employee handbook.
Okay. Guess that's all the departments. Meetings and announcements
Meetings and announcements. You guys have a meeting in Albin
next Wednesday.
this Wednesday.
This Wednesday.
This Wednesday. Yeah,
A couple
13th.
days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
And then the budget workshop, the 27th,
What time is that?
4 p.m.
Thank goodness it's not 8 a.m. Thank you.
Right? No 8 a.m. meetings.
All right. Anything else to come before us tonight? Meeting adjourned.
Good man.
You have to ask